Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Friday, which you guys know is our favorite day of the week because it is Financial Friday. And we get to talk to you guys about finances, real estate, crypto, and how to make your money work best for you. So before we start, though, we got two things to tell you. First thing is, don't blame us for anything that you decide to do on your own accord. All right, we are strictly giving our opinions. We are not telling you what to do, how to do it, when to do it. Okay, we are strictly talking about from our experience as licensed fiduciaries what we think is going to happen or what good potential things could be happening, but we're going to do. So if you decide to follow that, that's your fault, not ours. So don't blame me. Two, the way that we do things here is every week one of us picks three articles to talk about the current financial market and what's going on, whether that's real estate, whether that's crypto, whether that's the banking system, whether that's space. We probably usually talk about Tesla. This might be the first week we don't. But that being said, we want to make sure we give you guys kind of an entire encompassing view of what's going on in the world. Okay. So that being said, what's up, gents? How y'all doing?
Feeling great, man. How you doing?
Good, man. It's y'all know where I'm
At the mountain house.
At the Mountain House. So he's Canyon Cam right now.
Canyon Cam. I know I didn't change my thing today. I don't know if I told you, but when I did it a couple weeks ago, I think. Oh no, it was you. You were like, I just realized that Cam changed his name.
It was Canyon Cam.
Yeah,
Doing
Rico
great, man.
coming to us live from the new space,
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Breaking
man.
ground, baby.
breaking
Beautiful space
ground.
over here, man. Beautiful space, beautiful new office. We're always excited, obviously, to plant this flag
Mhm.
everywhere that we can. We got a flag at the Mountain House out in the mountains. We got a flag out in Fairfield, Vacaville. Got flags popping up everywhere, man. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what it is, bro. That's what it is.
Yes,
So
sir.
cool. So as we get started, I'm gonna pull up the articles. Um, one sec. Trying to make sure this streaming software gets going. Um,
Cool.
doo-doo-doo.
Rico, them colors looking good over there, man, off that wall in their office.
Hey, we got the full layout over here, man.
Yeah.
Trying to make some feng shui. My wife said had the feng shui sitting in the right position,
You have
right
to.
space.
That energy got to
Yeah,
flow right.
always,
It's gotta
always.
flow. It's gotta flow.
Mhm.
Okay, so first article, you guys that I chose, was about the rate hikes. So that's something that's kind of on the top of everybody's mind right now. So it cooled out recently. Like we saw the rates kind of chill out for a little while. They actually went down just like a little bit this past week. But as it stands right now, inflation still is not cooling really as much as we want to, right? And so so the Richmond Federal Reserve President Tom Barkin, he said that if inflation doesn't fall closer to the Fed's target of 2%, which I think is probably never gonna happen again. But that's here nor there. um, they're gonna continue. Okay, so it says they've moved aggressively over the last 15 months. Hiking rates 5% point to the current range of 5 to 5.25%. So look at kind of how the rates have been affected over the last 20 years.
Mhm.
So here we're sitting in 2000, right? 6.5%. Um, dropping down 2004, and then back, and it's 2008 when we had the huge housing crisis. What did they do? They brought everything down to like this historic low, right? And then we went back up 2016, dropped right back down when COVID hit. So it's like we're doing this to ourselves inadvertently all the time. And so, we're like, oh, cool, we're going to make everything low. And then we end up doing it to ourselves. So, and they actually talked about it in the article where they said they wanted to avoid the 1970s where they actually stopped raising rates too soon and it caused inflation to just jump right back up again. So that being said, gents, what do y'all feel about this article after you read it?
Yeah, so I'll jump in first. I thought this was another one of those topics that was important because of how it impacts the masses, right?
Mhm.
And then so can you go back to the graph?
Yeah.
So when I was actually reading the article, I stopped at this graph and I was just looking at it, right? And I
Mhm.
was I was looking at kind of the trends of where it was, some of the things that you just highlighted. And, one of the questions was, if you see where we're at today, and you kind of go back to, 2002, the 2008, the 2016, the 20, I was looking at the steady line once it hit the peak, right? And as you can see, the first three are fairly similar as far as the length.
Yeah.
And so when I got to this one, it was just like, so this will be interesting to see if we'll just take a dip or if it will remain climbing. Now, based off of what what you kind of highlighted and what was said in the article, as far as like, inflation going back down to 2%. Same thing. Personally, I don't foresee us going back to 2%. And in that same line, he had mentioned as far as, well, I feel comfortable increasing the rates.
Yeah.
So realistically, it's like the rates will continue to increase before they decrease. And so
I ain't tripping.
yeah. So those are the two things that kind of stood out to me, because I was really parked on this particular section right here because of really trying to study that 20-year trend and how it's been effective, how it's been affecting the last 20 years.
Yeah. Rico, what you got?
And he just took a deep
I think
breath.
the biggest. Yeah, no. I think you guys both. I think you guys both broke it down very well. You guys can hear me good, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So, looking at the trends, right? You look at, as Glenn said, looking at how much space it is between it, how many years it took for it to come back around. I mean, will it keep going up and then plateau? That's what everybody's saying. So they're trying to prevent it from doing that. But if you also notice, every time before a recession, if you see the gray shaded areas, right, it actually indicates a recession is going on. So you'll see that the rates went up every single time right before a recession. They're like, yeah, that's what. So now people are like, oh, that's what actually causes the recession when we have to play with the rates.
Facts.
Guys, we've talked about this before. This stuff is cyclical. I mean, you start to see, look at the trend. And so you start to see stuff that's controlled by certain actions from the government, right? And you're like, oh, well, it's consumer spending and things like that. Yeah, yes, yes and no. You're kind of pointed in a certain direction, right? And then they know the way that it's going to react. That's what I see from it. I see it that if we actually controlled ourselves, right, like as a government and us, right, as a country, and we actually did things that were more advantageous as far as like teaching education, right, teaching people the greater value of understanding what's going on in the market. Hey, when you get extra money, don't go out here and spend all of it. Or like currently the way that we're at, people were being hired, right, but they're being hired with higher salaries.
Yep.
The people that are actually being hired are getting higher salaries, and what do? They go and they pump that money back into the actual economy. And so that's the reason why inflation is just stretching out to being stagflation, because you don't see a pullback on the spending like what you thought.
Mhm.
Or maybe you do, but it's still like in the lower classes of people. And then they weren't going to spend anyway. I was looking at some graphs the other day. And they were talking about, you know, who's not spending, who's spending, who's not spending.
Mhm.
The people who weren't spending that we expected, lower class, middle class, right? Then the higher class, you see increased spending. And so I think looking at this at the chart, like even if you read the article, looking at the chart tells you everything that you need to know. It's like we can actually control this if we did better with our financial spending, and if the government actually did better. I feel like it's a lot of it is based in greed, but that's mine. That's me. That's the opinion.
It's all about the opinions, man, because that's what we think. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like we have to be smarter when it comes to these financial decisions, not only just as a country, but like as an individual too, because we're a part of it's a dual-sided problem, right? Not only is the government making it easy for us to do it, but then we're falling into the plan.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
100%.
100%.
Bet. All right. So next one we're going to talk about is the Virgin Galactic Holdings, man. I'm trying to be a part of the Galactic Force.
Galactic Space Force.
The Galactic Space Force. All right. So in this article, for those of you that haven't heard, Virgin Galactic, so SPCE, they have actually said that it plans to start beginning commercial space tourism service in late June, with monthly commercial flights to the edge of space to begin for ticket holders in August. Okay. So it says shares in the space, it went up 40%. But one of the things to pay attention to, and I said this to G earlier, is like, yeah, it went up 40%. But understand where it was at.
Mhm.
Right. So this used in, during the pandemic, as we all know, a lot of things shot up. But this thing went up and down and back up and then back down. Okay. And probably realistically because of they said they're going to do this and it didn't happen. So they're going to do this and it's not going to happen. Now we're actually seeing that they're making this promise to really actually start doing, these pre-commercial flights. So these are like the things when we talk to you guys about doing your research and understanding what's going on, is knowing what the future potential could be, right?
Mhm.
Like Virgin's not going anywhere ultimately. Yes, during this, actual like this holdings company, there were some mistakes that were made that made them drop and go up and drop. But everybody likes space. We're going there. The CEO is already, that's the space that he's been in for an extreme amount of time. Okay. And so when we talk about, the actual owner of Virgin. And so, but that being said, how do y'all feel about this? What do you guys think about this? Y'all trying to hop on one of those flights or what?
I need that military discount. Go ahead, Rico. You want to go?
Yeah. It's a safe bet. I mean, Richard Branson always is he's always going to throw his hat in competing with Musk and the other billionaires that's in that lane, right? And so he's always been on the cutting edge. Virgin Records itself was a very different construct when it came to how it dealt with its clients, which were the artists and stuff like that. So Richard Branson's always been on the cutting edge of a lot of different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's been fighting at this, and honestly, credit to him because, in my opinion, Elon got into the whole space section of things because of Branson, right? He already had jets and everything, and Branson was already pushing at that.
Facts.
And so I think Elon got into that space for that reason. So the stock prices, things like that, they're going to go up and down. A lot of people don't do the research. There's a lot of retail investors that get into a space when they see something like this. That's why you see the increase or the surge at a certain point. Right, but the real investors have been researching it, and they know whether it's good or not. He's probably got the best. I'd say he's probably has the best concept and the best model of how to do this. He's been researching it for years. I think it'll work, but I wouldn't jump on the flight. just letting you know that I'm the type even with like cell phones and stuff like that. I get the third version, right? Like get out of beta, and then we'll work from there. So yeah, I wouldn't jump on the first one or the second one. Let it go a couple times, and then let's see what we're talking about. And prices are going to be crazy. I'm sure prices will be crazy on it starting off. But anyway, yep.
That's 100%. Like, so I want to really kind of talk to more specifically the watchers or our watchers or folks that are rewatching this video, because as I was reading this article, the thought popped in my mind is that there's absolutely no limit to what you can do. Right. And so I remember a long time ago reading a Walt Disney quote, and he was talking about like laughter is timeless, imagination has no age, and dreams are forever. And so this particular article, as I was reading it, you talk about individuals who have come together to think outside the box. Right. We've been trying to get out to space and set up a platform to where people can take commercial flights. Right. Out, and just keep going up. And so, this was one of those, like, there will be small-minded individuals that will tell you that you can't accomplish X. And then you will have individuals that will push the envelope. And that's what I appreciate about Rico and Cam, that the three of us, we're never afraid to step outside that box. And, even though the flights, when we were talking about the flights in the article, as far as the price, for the last couple of years, they got about 800 individuals that will already be on the flight, and that's projected to launch in August. But the price back then was $250,000 per individual. and like now is at the price point of 400,000.
Mm.
So kind of back to your question, I'm good with taking a flight. Like Rico had mentioned, I'll get on that third version. I need them to get all the kinks and everything out. But I think what this does though is now it opens up the door of possibility to other individuals, right? Like Elon Musk is, like Rico had mentioned, he's been on this, right, doing his research and figuring out ways how to actually make it happen. Now that it's happening, Elon and I'm sure others will find ways to take it to another level,
Yeah.
right? And so, yeah, this was an interesting read. I mean, as far as the stock itself, if I was to invest, I would invest now.
Mhm.
And probably for the next, this will be a short investment for right now, probably the next 12 to 24 months, and then see where it's at, and then possibly reinvest that money into something else.
Mhm. Oh, look at you, man! The growth with you, my dog.
Well, hey, I don't play around in this industry, man. I'm a student of success.
My guy.
My man just graduated to a new level. Congrats to G.
And someone said you had to be a billionaire. I missed it when it popped in.
Oh,
You had to be a billionaire to afford. Yeah,
You have to be a
absolutely.
billionaire to afford that flight.
Absolutely.
Facts. I know. I don't like. I will say I don't like this update that Restream did to where now people have to like register for us to see their name. So shame on you, Restream. Bad.
I was wondering why we see Facebook use
Yeah,
it.
it started like last time. It was like, tell your audience to register. Like they don't want to register, bro.
Yeah, Facebook user, if you can, feel free to put your name in the chat
Yeah,
too. We want to give you a shout out.
That's data.
So that being said, last article. First of all, if you're here because you saw my reel that took 30 minutes to get posted, I appreciate you. I was messaging Glenn and Rico earlier because, to obviously build up some of the hype about what we were going to talk about today, because as we know, sometimes you want to know what you're going to be listening about. I did a short reel talking about this for a second, and I kid you not, I couldn't get Facebook or Instagram to post this thing for like 30 minutes. And it finally worked, but it took a while. So that being said, for those of you who follow crypto, or have crypto or have thought about it, so on and so forth, little background story. There are some major giants when it comes to the crypto space right now, as far as where you can trade. So Binance is one of them. Was it crypto.com is the other one. And then so Voyager used to be a big one, but they got axed because of what happened, with Luna and things of that nature. And then the other one, what's the other one that's out there right now? Uphold, and then Uphold. I had to look on my phone because I have Uphold. So Uphold is the other major one. So that being said, Binance was actually in the process of buying, or they just completed the acquisition of Voyager. So this would interested me even more because I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing with my Voyager stuff. And so Binance France chief brushed off concerns the day before police visit. So what happened is that in the United States, Binance has a lot of scrutiny right now because they're saying that they're doing some nefarious things with their money, and so they're being looked into. Now, as you guys know, we have the SEC and other organizations in the United States that control how companies operate in the United States. Well, overseas, they have a lot of their own things. So the guy that's in charge of the France branch of Binance pretty much was just like, whatever, that happened in America. That don't mean nothing to me. So, and then they got raided like 2 days later by the European version of the SEC. So he legitimately said what was happening in America was the equivalent of a butterfly flapping its wings. So, well, bro, the butterfly effect got your ass. So, Rico, I know that you and I have a lot of conversations about crypto and where we're at, where we think it's going. One of the big things that was announced that we talked about was, the coins that were now considered securities. So I don't think it is coincidence that this is happening after those coin that was announced, right? And so I'm a conspiracy theorist, but that's okay. I digress. But how do so G, you being, I would say, like our, like, I don't want to say newer person because I know you know a lot, but like the crypto space, right?
Yeah.
Like, what, how do you feel about it? Because I know you've been learning a lot more about it recently.
Yeah, for sure. The last 6 months, I've learned a lot more. So for those that are watching that don't know what kind of the Binance. So Binance is the world's largest crypto currency exchange, right? And so, um, you know, with with that, like Binance offers crypto to crypto trading in more than like 360 cryptocurrencies and virtual tokens, right? So
Are they paying you right
hey,
now?
your boy stepping up, man.
You just hit him
Hey,
with a commercial.
I had to drop it, man. I had to drop it. But no, so specifically with the so specifically regarding the article itself, the first thing that stood out to my mind, like as a CEO, you're obviously going to stand up for, like, number one, it was mentioning that in the article, like, folks have been reaching out, but the president hasn't been responsive, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's an investigation going on, so legally, him knowing his stuff, he's not going to just take all interviews and be like, "Yep, this is what's going on behind the scenes." Right. So I think that was one instance, but like you said, like there's obviously more going on behind the scenes. If not only the SEC, US SEC, but the SEC equivalent on the France side is now stepping in. So I'm sure there's going to be more information kind of popping out regarding this situation right here. But as he mentioned in the article, hey, I kind of like bounced this with my legal team. The legal team, they said it was good in a sense. And so it will, like I said, I think the thing I wrote down is that Binance is being charged with 13 security charges.
13 security charges.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a high percentage. Like even if they take out 12, there's still one that they can get charged with. So like I said, this will be a very interesting this will be an interesting situation to see what comes out.
It's also funny, I think, like, and this is one of those instances where a company's operating in different jurisdictions as far as country wise. And that's one thing they talked about was like, hey, y'all can't hem us up on what's going on in the US. We're a different branch. We follow under different rules. And so I know that's a part of the legal team's argument is like, you can't lump the whole company just into one.
Yeah. But specifically, what he had mentioned, I don't know if let me bring it up. Like it was actually, I'm very big on wording too, because when he mentioned about his legal team, so the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, which charged Binance last week with the 13 securities, blah blah blah. I think it was up a little bit. Adding statement that the company was also being probed, aggressively monitored. I forgot where it was at, but basically he had talked about when he mentioned the legal team in that sentence, he wasn't very specific as far as like saying, hey, the legal team. He said, like, I mentioned this to the legal team, and they also mentioned it back, like, but there was wasn't a definite, like, they actually put it in their regulation as far as keeping the U.S. The regulation separate from the international regulation or something like that. And so that will be
Prinke insisted Binance U.S. assets were separated from the international exchange, an assertion also made by the exchange's legal team.
Yeah, so he insisted. It doesn't mean that it happened.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, G. Semantics. So quick note on that. My son always kills me with that because I'll say something and then he'll do what I didn't want him to do. He'd be like, "Well, you said that though," and I'm like, "You mother."
I mean, when you're playing with international money, like that comes into play.
This is true.
The SEC isn't going to stop. Yeah, I agree. The SEC isn't going to stop.
Nope. What you got, Rico?
They're the same company. You can hide it. You can do different holding companies, all that type of stuff like that. It's the same company. They're not fooling anybody. I mean, let's just be honest. The SEC, if they want you, the SEC is the Fed, guys. So, they're the Feds. They're all cousins, right? So if they want you, they're going to get you. and it doesn't matter. The case already been built. You know, they don't bring indictments until the case has been built. They got years of this stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and tie this to something that people probably aren't thinking about. FTX. That's where all this. This is where this is stemming from.
Yep.
Probably about 2 or 3 years ago, the United States started speaking with banks, and they started discussing, you know, having DeFi monetary systems, right? Or and what that meant to banking systems.
Yeah.
Then they started talking about doing tokens for banks.
Mhm.
The conversation started, it moved forward. You got all the stuff going on with crypto, they couldn't control it,
Yeah.
right? And this is including the nefarious beginnings of Bitcoin and why it was even created, right? All these things. So for years, they've just been sitting and collecting.
Yeah.
Finally, you got FTX happens, right? That falls all to shape. Now, yesterday, Sam Bankman-Fried, this is the owner of, right, of FTX, the whole breakdown. He had charges removed. It just so happens that that coincides with these guys getting indicted. Now, what's the conspiracy? I'll put it all together for you. Here it goes. Binance was looking to hold a 21% stake in FTX. FTX was the largest at that time, right? Binance was, and they were going back and forth. Binance basically deliberately sabotaged FTX.
Yeah. We talked about that.
Placed them in a position to where they had to default, right? And basically renege on loan payments and expansion, which pushed them into the fall of what they were doing.
Mhm.
Okay, you don't think Sam Bankman-Fried, of course, they're like, hey, give us the
Give us the deets.
good. You'll get charges dropped. Literally, he had charges dropped yesterday. All this ties together. That's what's happening. So, like, he's like, okay, I'll tell you exactly their financials, because in order for them to even bid on this, on the ownership, right, the percentage of ownership that they were requesting, they had to submit financial papers. I have all that information. So I'm just putting it all together for you guys. This is a whole dirty game, man. It's politics. There's so much stuff going on behind the scenes with this. And then 7 different coins and tokens that were delisted, right? And then they're still listed, but now they're securities.
Yep.
You don't think those had links to all of this stuff that's going on? And the charges that are linked, if it was ill-gotten funds, those blockchains are linked to those ill-gotten funds. So it's crazy. Hopefully XRP doesn't get taken down, because I love Ripple. But
So funny enough, I think the whole FTX Binance was one of our first Financial Friday episodes.
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
When we talked about all that was going on, how Binance played out FTX.
Mhm.
And we're like, how did that get done under your nose, bro?
It's a chess move. And so you think that you're going to do that, and now I'm in custody, and they offer me a deal? You think I'm not going? Of course he's going to take it.
I'm gonna drop.
He took it. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll see. This is going to be very interesting how this plays out.
Mhm.
And if you're in the crypto space, do your tokenomics, guys. The way we say due diligence on doing as far as you're investing,
Yep.
you know, you going in and actually looking at the CEOs, looking at the basis of these companies. What is their interest? What have they done? What innovations are they bringing out? We talked about Meta and stuff last week. This week, I'm telling you, if you're getting into the crypto space, do your tokenomics. Study the utility of the tokens.
Yep.
What is it linked to? What is the basis of it? Where do their CEOs come from? Do they come from, you know, cannabis growing? I'm not saying nothing about it. I'm just saying you got to study all of this in order to see, you know, could this fall off in the future? Could they gain billions of dollars from me and other people, and then it falls off? I've read there are going to be cities that run by using crypto as a currency. What are your thoughts? That's already in the works. In Africa, the singer Akon, his whole city will be run by crypto. In Africa, as a matter of fact, a lot of their currency, a lot of their payments and things like that, being that it's so rural, it's paid via crypto.
Yeah.
Because it keeps the exchange rate uniform. It's coming. But yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Well, some of it's fact, but that's my
No, that was a good question. And hopefully, people who come across or who watch this or rewatch it, like they start doing their research with that, because you don't hear many people talking about that particular question. Like there are cities that are projected to be run by crypto.
Listen, eventually it'll all happen. Just what ends up happening is instead of it being DeFi, it'll all be controlled. It'll all just be regulated.
Yeah.
You can't avoid moving into, digital currency.
Right.
Everything's going digital, so it's gonna happen. It'll just be regulated via the
Yeah.
government, right?
Yeah.
And then when that happens, guess what? There's no money hiding.
Mhm.
Yep.
On the blockchain, you can't hide anything. So just be prepared, people. We're just talking. I'm just letting you know, cash will go away completely.
Yeah.
It won't exist anymore.
Yep.
It won't be worth anything. And when that happens, just get ready.
Yeah.
IRS said they freezing your account. It's instant.
Mhm.
No time. No. Just done. Yep. No more money from
Yeah.
anywhere.
Hey, 2025, we're gonna do a big US tour conference, and this will be probably one of the topics that will be highlighted. I'm forecasting that.
Oh,
I don't do plugs very often, but I'm gonna give a shameless plug. You should probably be in our informational group,
Mhm.
right? Marathon group. You should probably be in that group. We're giving constant information. All of us, we give constant information about all of this,
Yep.
financial, crypto, right? And we got to keep it a secret, but we're working on something. We're working on something that I think is going to be phenomenal for everybody. It'll help you in this space because at the end of the day, we just want to provide value and education.
Yep.
Thanks. And if you aren't already a part of it, just message one of us and we will hook you up. We will gladly add you to the group. I can tell you that people who have joined it, I have heard firsthand of the knowledge that they like that we drop in there and that we keep the conversation very relevant and moving.
Yeah.
So if you're not a part of it, hit us up. But we are 3 minutes over, but that's okay because for those of you that stayed with us, you obviously enjoyed it. So appreciate you. Join us again next Friday, 3 p.m. Every Friday, we are here Pacific Standard Time. On Mondays, we have Money Mondays, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We do run that on IG though, so make sure you follow us on Instagram Live. And then other than that, boys and or gents, last minute.
No, I just want to say I appreciate folks tuning in, listening. Again, like just to echo what Rico was saying, like our main goal is just to provide value and education. So look forward to y'all tuning in. Appreciate y'all being a part of the community as we rock on the Marathon Group.
Facts.
If you're watching this on a replay, share this with 3 to 5 people.
Okay.
There's information in this that they're gonna need, right? It's relative information. 3 to 5 people. That's it. Just tag them, send in a message, or hey, put them in the group. However, whatever we're talking about. But this information needs to get out to people. And yeah, have a good weekend, guys.
Share one less funny video and share this video to help somebody be more financially educated for the future. But other than that, we'll see y'all Monday. Bye, y'all.